Good morning. We have a wonderful panel for you today for LinkedIn, and we're going to invite three different coaches and three different people that are super users of LinkedIn to us today. So good morning, guys. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a great day. So I'm going to do a quick intro and then we will get moving. So Latasha Kazi, she is the director, the head of recruiting for U-Haul International locations in both the United States and Canada. She leads a team of recruiters who focus on finding the right talent to work in multiple areas of the U-Haul organization, which includes information technology, call center, manufacturing, and various roles within the Arizona corporate headquarters. She's also active in our community, serves on multiple boards and nonprofits, to include a mayor appointment by Mayor Kate to the Phoenix Workforce Commission Board of Directors. Good morning, Latasha. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
We also have Ted Robeson, who on LinkedIn is Mr. Link Me In. He's a coach with over 10 years experience as a LinkedIn expert, coach, and job search mentor, dedicated to helping people realize their potential and value differentiation. His approach combines a wide breadth of technical knowledge in social media, search engine optimization, and job search techniques. And I love his quote, "Connections are good, but relationships are gold." Thanks for being here, Ted.
Well, thank you for having me.
You are welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
And then we have Nicole Langston. She is a technical project manager, a super user and coach with LinkedIn. She has extensive digital transformation coaching and process improvement experience. Much like the economy and the industry, Nicole too has continued to evolve her knowledge and tools to be successful. The hiring process continues to become more digital, social, and technical based, and she helps people navigate their terrain. And she has been coaching LinkedIn to navigate her own career as well as others for 10 years, or almost 10 years. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Welcome. I appreciate it.
Yes, well, we are so glad to have you guys here today. To get started, can you each take a minute or two and just kind of tell us, you know, who you are and how you've utilized LinkedIn over your career? So Latasha, why don't you get us started?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So I have been in the recruiting industry for over 20 years. And so recruiting has certainly evolved over time. From the paper resumes on a fax machine or just handing it out at a job fair to now, honestly, 99% of the people that we get are going to be through some sort of digital platform, whether it's a referral through email or a referral through LinkedIn. So I have used LinkedIn over the years. I mean, I started when LinkedIn was a little bit more structured, where you had to actually know a person and invite them. And then now to where it allows you to follow people and learn a little bit more about them. And so from a recruiting perspective, I certainly utilize LinkedIn to help us source and find candidates for various roles.
That's great. Thank you. Nicole, how about you?
Hi, I'm Nicole Langston, and I've used LinkedIn over the years for a variety of things, but I have been impacted by the economy and reorgs more than I like. So I feel I've become a super user in many capacities, but job seeking being one of them, as well as I use it ongoing throughout my career, because I've also been on it since the early days as well. So I use it for networking, keeping in touch with you know, whether it be professional friends or friends around the world. Also, I just find it such a valuable tool that I use for so many different things. But, you know, I think it's just, to me, it's my primary social media account.
That's great. Thank you. Ted, how about you?
Well, thanks. Well, I've been doing this for 10 years. I came from Southern California, out of Saddleback Church under Rick Warren, and I actually brought LinkedIn to Saddleback Church. So in the early days, especially around, 2007, we hit a hard time, as we are now, in the economy. A lot of people lost their jobs, and I got into it. It helped me as an engineer. It helped me get jobs and consulting gigs. And I just had working for Saddleback Church, and then coming out to Arizona for 6 years now. It's been quite the honor for me to work for Jessica and Sheila and the career Connectors folks. I have a deep passion for helping people, and I've been blessed to have helped many thousands of people actually all over the world.
That's great, Ted. We really appreciate you and all the service you've given to Career Connectors as well and our people. So today we have people watching, a lot of people that are in career transition right now. Some people are not in career transition, but thinking about other career opportunities. So can you tell us, why should people be on LinkedIn? Why is it important? And Nicole, you want to take this one?
Sure. To me, it's my digital resume. So I have used it over my career as my primary tool. And in fact, the last time I was eliminated from a job, I think I reached out to you and Sheila first to jump in and help and see when the next event was. But then I started reaching out to my network on LinkedIn and off of LinkedIn as well. I didn't even update my resume till almost a month later. So, because even when I am employed and actively working, I still get messages on LinkedIn often from recruiters. And I'm not saying that to make anybody jealous by any means. I'm just saying that if you have it, completed and are using it fully, it can be a very valuable tool for you to have a little more peace of mind and job security, when things get tough.
Yeah, thank you. Ted, from a coach perspective, what is your opinion here?
Well, I think there's two big reasons. One is networking. 87% of people in transition get jobs through networking.
Yep.
And LinkedIn is a huge networking tool. It's a repository for all your connections, much better than cards would be. And the other reason, I think, is getting found on LinkedIn. So the Latashas of the world can, if you're keyworded and have good content on LinkedIn, then the Latashas of the world can find you and then source that. And many of my clients have been found and hired. And it's a true gift, I believe, to all of us.
Absolutely. Latasha, you have been a super user from an employer standpoint as well. So tell us a little bit about how you utilize LinkedIn for hiring.
Absolutely. So, there are some employers, U-Haul being one of them, who become LinkedIn recruiter or LinkedIn users, where we have a paid account that we have, where we actually do go out to LinkedIn and source candidates. And so, when we are able to find the Nicoles of the world, right, that are out there that are looking and transitioning, and even if she wasn't transitioning, when her LinkedIn profile is up to date, even for positions that we are not yet actively recruiting for, the jobs are not yet posted, we sometimes go out there and look for candidates that have experience. Let's say we're looking for an IT director. We may go out there and look at their individual profiles to see what types of companies are they coming from, what types of skills do they have, what types of certifications do they have, and all of those types of things. And so we certainly utilize heavily LinkedIn, and most of the professional recruiters on my team utilize LinkedIn to find a majority of their candidates. And when we put our job postings out there, we do pay to have them matched up with certain keywords and certain things that are in your actual profile on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, and it is, just from an employer standpoint, the LinkedIn chair, it's not cheap. So if you're if an employer is investing in a LinkedIn chair, that's some of the verbiage that LinkedIn uses for employers, then they want to find people on LinkedIn. Is that true, Latasha?
Oh, that's absolutely right. If we're going through and we're putting in the effort to pay the money and do all of those things from a LinkedIn perspective, we want someone as a candidate who is also going to put in the effort. If you do not have any detail on your LinkedIn profile, we will not find you. Just the name Jessica Pierce, although I know you're amazing, personally, I wouldn't know that by looking at you on LinkedIn if you had nothing on your profile. I think it's really important to sell yourself as much as you can, utilize it as your platform. And actually you have a little bit more flexibility than just a paper resume, because you also have the option to place links to speeches that you've done or things that you've done in the community, videos, all of those types of things you can professionally place on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, so good. So it's really a branding tool. I love that. So let's talk about some of the content. Like, how do we stick out? How do people stick out on LinkedIn? So there's 5 areas of content. And I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but as quick as we can, I want to talk about the header, the summary area, the experience area, keywords, which a couple of you have already mentioned, and a picture. So who would like to take the header? What's important about the header?
I can take
Okay, Ted.
Yes, the header I think is one of the important areas. What I think, it gives you a chance to put your title. A lot of people want to put 4 or 5 titles in there, and that confuses people. So maybe a couple titles if they're the same, something special about yourself. I like to add that and to make you shine. And then I love to do taglines. For a lot of my people, I've done taglines like, creating a customer service culture for some of my clients. And I love that. And you get 120 characters on the desktop version. Actually, on the mobile version, I don't know if you guys know this, you can hack it to get 240 characters.
Oh.
So I don't think more is necessarily better, but I like to utilize that header a lot.
Yeah.
That's great. Latasha, what about looking for a job as a title?
Yeah, I always say stay away from putting looking for a job in your title. I would certainly say make sure that your title, you can say that you're looking for a job without saying you're looking for a job, right? And so I think in that header should certainly be very, as Ted said, very to the point. Even if it has more words, make sure they're very powerful words that describe and explain who you are and your background. It's almost like when we say, what's your 30-second elevator speech, right? That's what should be in that header on LinkedIn as well.
That's so good. That's great. Hey, Nicole, let's jump over to summary. Can you give us your thoughts on, the summary section? It's kind of the about section. What should we include there?
Well, I mean, to me, I agree with what they said. It is very much prime real estate to me is always your photo, your headline, and your about. And although there's different minds of thought around both your headline and your summary, and one of the things I will add to, I completely agree, you should not put unemployment. And the one I keep seeing is laid off due to COVID. And I keep telling people, don't do that. I mean, you can allude to it, but don't put it in your headline. But I guess I'm of the mindset more so when you are actively job seeking, it's better to have variations of the titles in your headline. I get and agree with including stats, especially if you're a salesperson, or a creative catch line if you are an entrepreneur or in a creative field. But I think when you are aggressively looking for a job and are unemployed, having variations, again, all about those keywords of the various titles, but not repetition. In fact, I was just helping a friend about this, and everything she was putting in had a version of account and manager. And I'm like, no, you got to think the variations. Do people use it as, TAM? Do people put it as MGR? Do people put it as manager? Do people put SR? IT, whatever it happens to be, you got to think about the terms that people use to get to what you're searching on, they are searching on, and it's not going to say unemployed or COVID, So, but then in the about, you have, again, I feel that you can be a lot more robust, as we've all said, on LinkedIn. And so you have a lot of prime real estate there, although the first 2.5 lines are the first 2 that show on anybody that looks at your profile. And of course, I know we are all of the same mindset and are shaking our heads. And so those need to be the ones that first draw people in, whether it's showcasing a certification or a team that you built, or your massive book of business, or your massive rollout or release that everybody knows. Whatever it happens to be, that should be the kicker that pulls people in. Now from there, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but ultimately you do need to have the keywords in that about. Some people put it more in storytelling, and I do like that. And I will admit that as much as I tell people it's great to do, I haven't gotten around to doing my own, but I get enough traffic with mine being more of the old mindset, more so, which is more keyword driven. So, but again, it's about the variations of the keywords and really optimizing your profile to be found, so that the words and the jobs that you want are prominent everywhere you need it to be, in your headline, in your about, in your experience, and ultimately in your resume as well. But I think there's a lot of creative license. Like, I will always save people's PDFs of their profile if I see a really unique one that I'm like, oh, that's a great example for when I'm working with somebody that's a finance coach or accounting coach, or when I'm coaching somebody that does that. Because I'm sorry, it's hard to be a little creative at times with finance. I mean, there's only so many things you can do. So, when you see somebody talk more about their career story and their history and how they got there, I mean, mine's quite varied. Because I've been eliminated several times, I've created, I don't know, I've evolved. I keep evolving with every obstacle that's been, presented. So
yeah, I think that's a really good tip is people can go and look at other people's profiles.
Oh, yeah.
And, not necessarily copy them verbatim, but definitely take some of that content and utilize as their own, as just reframe it.
Ideas.
Hey, yeah. Hey, Ted, you had a thought here around the summary section.
I do like the summary section, and it's a lot different. It's your time to shine.
Yep.
And in your resume, you use kind of the third person type of speak, if you would. In your summary, when you're talking value proposition, I love to talk I or myself, and it has more power. So if you have value propositions, I like that. One other thing that LinkedIn just added, and I don't know if you guys know this, and that is in your settings, if you let recruiters know you're looking, well, that translates to your profile that says open to new opportunities, and you can put titles, you can put full-time and your area, which now alleviates you having to say something like that in your headline. So it's right there below. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's very nice, and it keeps us from having to put open to new opportunities that really I don't care for.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tip. What about picture? Do we include it? Yes. Latasha, why do we include a picture?
Yeah, that is very important for your brand, right? So, before you even read the words, right, you're going to pay attention to the picture. I always say make it as professional as possible. Not everyone has the opportunity or the means to be able to go out and get a professional a headshot. But if you do have one and you are able to do that, I certainly recommend that. No selfies, no car photos, none of those types of things, because that shows that you do not care, if you will, to the recruiter enough about your profile to be professional. So if you are looking to go into a professional environment, your photo should show that. So I cannot stress the importance enough of making sure that you have an up-to-date professional photo.
Awesome. All right, we're going to jump into the next section because we're behind. Yeah, Nicole, real quick.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say real quick, to give Career Connectors a plug, if you happen to be in the Valley, within the greater Phoenix Valley, once the live events happen, they always have professional photographers on hand so that you can get variations of your own photo. I've got several, and my favorite is still posted because of them. So.
Yay, thank you. I always tell them, keep trying. If you don't like the first one, come back to the next event.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I do.
Yes. Okay, we're going to talk connections now. Really important part, a key component of LinkedIn are the connections. So how many connections should I have, and what kind of connections should I have? Ted, you want to start us off here?
I'd be glad to. Well, one of the things that I always talk about is I think you should at least strive to have over 500. Yeah. Now there's rules. I've taught LinkedIn across the nation, even to the other experts, and some think you ought to have 10, 20,000. I don't think that's good. I like, quality connections, because then they can help you connect into companies. So over 500, when you're you know, a lot of the people that I talk to have 50 or 60. That's not enough to help you and use the full strength of LinkedIn that can be very beneficial for you, for your network, and for communicating to your network, and then ultimately breaking into companies. And I think that's a good practice. After you get over 500, you can certainly then set your criteria higher and then be a little bit more picky if you would.
Yeah, and I don't know if LinkedIn still has this measurement, but don't you have to hit 500? Is it 500 for all-star status, or is it 50?
No, it's 500.
Yeah.
It's what?
No, sorry, I was going to agree with you. It's 500 used to be the baseline, and I think it's still one of the factors.
Yes, it is.
So yeah.
Yeah. Although, and I look at that having all-star status, I think that's important. But I think what's even more important is content. We can all achieve all-star status, but if your content isn't good, if you're not keyworded or talk about yourself in an enlightening way, so people like Latasha can read that and get excited, then I think that's really the important thing.
That's great. So let's talk about keywords a little bit. Latasha, I'm going to jump over to you because people want to be found by recruiters. And I know keywords is one of them, but can you kind of talk about that? How do you find people on LinkedIn? What are some of the things they can do to kind of show up?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jessica. So a couple of things. One, I would say they have to be very purposeful about what it is that they're looking for, right? And so they need to go out and do research at various companies. So, you know, if they want to work at U-Haul, they need to look at U-Haul and figure out if they want to be a software developer, what does U-Haul call a software developer? Is it that? And if it is, then you go out there and you put those keywords there. If you want to work in the financial services industry, perhaps at like, you know, Charles Schwab and it's a financial advisor, what does Schwab call their financial advisors, right? So you need to be able to go out there and make sure that you're very clear on what it is that you're looking for so that you can then mimic. One thing that I will say that I love to say always is that there is no such thing as plagiarizing on your LinkedIn. So you said earlier, go out there and look at other people's profile. You can do that. As long as you have the experience that you say you have on your profile, you can utilize other people's words, their examples, especially people who have worked at the organizations that you want to work at. I would say go out there and do as much research as you can. And LinkedIn is an open space for you to do that. You may not be connected to a person, but you can still look at their profile. So I certainly think that you need to be really clear and very purposeful. This is not the tool to be so free form. So, you know, there are other social media tools that you can do that. You need to have a little bit more professional structure on LinkedIn.
I love it. You gave so many golden tips just right now. First of all, you told people without saying it, no companies that you want to work for. Right. And so that is so important. And I had never heard that, to actually go to the employer and see what their words are and then incorporate that into the LinkedIn. We say that all the time about resumes, but I had not heard it about LinkedIn. That is fantastic. So good.
Yeah, well, you know, and I think the one thing that LinkedIn allows as well, Jessica, is, you know, being a person that's in recruiting, we do have applicant tracking tools, right? You know that the applicant tracking tool clears the first layer out of the system. So if you don't have certain keywords and things like that, unfortunately, sometimes recruiters are not going to see you. So LinkedIn is your opportunity to be seen, and so that you can go out there and that you do that research and you do know. So when I am searching for someone, again, building my pipeline or my candidate pool for something that I'm going to post in the future, LinkedIn allows me to find those people with those keywords.
Fantastic. Okay, you guys, we are coming up on closing here in just a minute, but okay, the pandemic has taken LinkedIn to the next level. It has been so incredibly high volume. And so is there anything different that we need to think about, or how we're using LinkedIn because of this? Ted, do you have some thoughts there?
Yeah.
I do. I think LinkedIn gives an opportunity, besides the content, I think that's always important. But I feel that LinkedIn has a couple things that are nice. The pandemic has given us a chance to connect with our network and form those relationships. And I think that's very valuable. I've done that myself, where I've reached out, talked to people, and I advise my candidates to go out and make sure if you're looking for a job or you're in transition, let them know. And LinkedIn has the tools to do that. Through your network, you can send out individual messages. And I think that's valuable to tell them what you're looking for, the types of companies, your target companies. The other thing that I love is LinkedIn has a learning center. When Microsoft bought LinkedIn, they brought over lynda.com. And the Learning Center now, if you're off at home and you're in transition or you're on furlough, go to those classes. There's so many classes and what I call bone up on your skills. And especially if you got an interview or a phone interview coming up, so that you're fresh on those talents that you maybe had years ago, but now you can refresh your memory. I've used it many times, and many of my clients have used it and been very successful with that.
Yeah. Okay, so one last thoughts by each of you. Let's go around and, any other quick tips or anything else you'd like to tell people about LinkedIn and why you use it. So Nicole, you want to start this one off?
I think kind of as we've all said, it is about the content, it is about the relationships, and especially when we're tied to our homes or limited to, being out and about. It is a great space. I do see a lot more people utilizing, webinars or videos and interaction, which I think is great. You definitely need to continue your own self-growth, as Ted said, and I think really showcasing on the transferable skills. I've always been a big cheerleader. Yeah, I know you agree. I've always been a big cheerleader in doing research about a job. It's one of the things I always tell people. I'm like, go look at the job. You can see what skills you have. If you know that that is your job, and you're only showing in the top 50%, you need to go back and edit your profile. Yes. Keep it open, have the tab next to it, and pay attention to the verbiage. Because I'm always telling people, like people that I know that have been in sales forever, that title's changed. It's called account executive. It's called, business development. It's called, VP of strategy, whatever. I mean, there are so many different variations that you have to accommodate. So exactly what you said, I highly recommend looking at the multiple jobs that are yours, opening in another tab, PDFing it, whatever you want to do, and pay attention to their terms. If they're calling, if they're saying finances or budget, then you need to, and somebody has something else, P&L or whatever it happens to be, you need to have all those terms.
Yes.
You need to have it spelled out. You need to have the abbreviation. You don't know what recruiters are going to search for. And so you got to showcase what you can bring to them right now. Even if it's not 100% of a fit, especially females are really guilty about this. 50% of females won't apply to a job if they don't feel that they are truly qualified for a job. Men don't care, but, and I shouldn't say that. They're a little more confident. They're a little more confident, whereas women tend to be a little hesitant. I know I've been guilty of this myself. I'm like, I got about 75% of that. A lot of it is self-taught, and a lot of companies are embracing personal development, or I'm saying professional development internally. And if they're willing to train you and you've got the majority of the skills, give it a shot. And if you can connect to somebody within that company, if you, can reach out and befriend somebody in that role, work the system and work the content and it'll pay off. There's still a lot of companies that are hiring right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Thank you. Ted, closing thoughts.
Of course. Connecting with people and building relationships, of course, is important to me. But one of the things that people don't know is I like to connect with recruiters. Somebody like Latasha, if I'm first degree with Latasha, that means I'm in her network. And I could be somebody that she could call. And I think that's great. Another form, and just to piggyback off Latasha's, by the way, I just love Latasha and Nicole. These guys are outstanding. Love them. They're super. I'm the dog in this group. So, but another thing is to do what I call informational interviews. And that is, if I go into the company like U-Haul or whatever company, and I know somebody, I can ask them, hey, what's the culture like? How did you get your job? What's the management like? And therefore you learn a lot about the company, and you can take that not only on LinkedIn, but also at the interview. So.
Yeah, awesome, great. Thank you. And Latasha, closing thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. Ted, you are amazing. So I would say a few things. One, use LinkedIn with a purpose, right? Go in with a purpose. That's what it's there for. That's why they created the amazing tool. You would be surprised how many recruiting leaders and how many recruiters are willing to connect with you. So I would say, do not be afraid to send, that invite. I would say, stay cautious or stay away from trying to sell the recruiter something. Usually that turns them off.
Good.
But when you're just trying to connect and like Ted said, information, be informational about what you're trying to receive. Recruiters are very open to that. They always want to tell about their great organizations that they are working with. So I would certainly say don't stay away from that. The other thing that I would say is make sure that you stay away from utilizing LinkedIn as a social platform for things like politics and things controversial, right? Because now that COVID is here, it does allow us the opportunity to spend more time, right? There are more of us working from home and we're not as busy as we normally are. And it allows us to utilize all of our platforms more than we ever have. So be really careful about the words that you're putting out there. And the last thing that I will say, Ted mentioned the Learning Center. I cannot agree more with the importance of utilizing that Learning Center, but as well, share that. So when you complete the courses, it also allows you the opportunity to share that you completed it. Do that not only for your friends in your network, but for recruiters as well to know these are the skills that they're getting even better at.
Yes, so good. Yes, Nicole?
I know we're over time, but to add on to that, I've been seeing a lot of companies posting free education or free attendance to industry events also for job seekers right now. So take advantage of them. When I see something that's relevant, I share it to somebody else. And when I am approached by recruiters, I offer to always share it to my network. And I always forward and reshare any job post that Latasha or any recruiter posts to my network also. So, give back to others as well.
Absolutely. Wow, you guys, this has been awesome. All four of us have used LinkedIn since the early 2000s when it was an invite-only tool. We were talking about that before we got started, and used it my whole career. And I can tell you a huge majority of the reason why I'm connected to employers and why Career Connectors is what it is because of LinkedIn. Power used it. Like I reached out to everybody in Arizona I could find that was hiring. And so such a powerful tool. It's a great way to network. We really appreciate each of you for your time today. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.